Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Ambali ma'am.
Yeah, good afternoon, Sangeeta. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, all.
Ma'am, I think we can start, no? Others, if you are joining, let them join.
Yeah, we'll start. It's
Yeah.
already 5. Yeah, even if we wait, they won't come. Those who want to come only will come.
Yeah, okay. So we are starting with the second experiment. We had already done it once in PSpice. Today we will just see how we are doing it in the multisim. Starting with the narrow bandpass filter. Now we have already seen there are 4 different filters: low pass filter, high pass filter, band pass filter, as well as band reject filter. Now in the band pass filter, again it is divided it as wide band pass filter and narrow band pass filter. Again in the band stop or band reject filter, there is again wide band reject filter and narrow band reject filter. So we will just look into what is exactly narrow band pass filter and narrow band reject filter. Now, the narrow band pass filter circuit, you can see the feedback. You already know what is feedback. So you can see there are 2 feedback paths here. One is from the resistor, one is from the capacitor. So usually this narrow band pass filter, you'll be using multiple feedback, and the band pass filter is nothing but which will, for a certain frequency, it will pass where you will have the lower frequency, higher frequency, and the center frequency. So we will consider certain frequencies from range, say I'll consider from 300 hertz to 3 kilohertz. So I want only in that frequency range from 300 hertz to 300 kilohertz or 300 gigahertz. Only till there I need the frequency to be passed. So which is nothing but a band pass filter. Where you pass the frequency is a pass band. So this, where there is no frequency is passed, that is nothing but your stop band. Now if you see the figure, the filter has an op-amp, which will use an op-amp. And there are 2 properties or 2 things which you have to remember. It has 2 feedback paths, which is why it is called as a multiple feedback. And the op-amp used here is an inverting mode. So if you see the input is given to the inverting terminal of the op-amp. So these are the important points in the narrow bandpass filter. Now, generally a narrow bandpass filter, we will design for a particular value of center frequency, which is FC, and Q, which is called as quality factor, or it is also called as FC and the bandwidth. Now, coming to the structure, as I've told you, the feedback path, there is an inverting mode, and this narrow bandpass frequency or filter, it is having a center frequency and a quality factor. Now this bandpass filter, 2 cutoff frequencies which we have, that is higher cutoff frequency, which is FH, lower cutoff frequency, which we take it as FL. Usually we know higher frequency, that is FH, will be always greater than FL, and we define the quality factor, which is greater than 10. The relationship between your Q or a 3 dB bandwidth center frequency is given by a formula for quality factor, which is Q is equal to FC by bandwidth. Or we know bandwidth is nothing but higher frequency minus lower frequency, FC by FH minus FL. Usually when we say a bandpass filter, the configuration is the combination of your low frequency, low pass filter, high pass filter, then amplification. So we will have a low pass filter configuration. Then in between, again, we amplify that low pass signal. Then we give the high, that is high pass filter. So where we will be able to take off those frequencies which are not required, only the low frequencies which we require will pass. Then again, only the high frequencies which are required will pass. Rest of the frequencies will neglect it. So the configuration will be usually low pass filter, amplification, then a high pass filter. Now here, coming to the design part, we will usually be considering the capacitor values same for both. So C1 and C2 both will be equal to some C value. And R1 is given by an equation Q divided by 2 pi FC into C into AF. AF is the gain at the center frequency. R2 is given by Q by 2 pi FC into C, 2 Q square minus AF. Similarly, R3 is Q by 2 pi FC into C. Now gain at a frequency, that is center frequency, is given by R3 divided by 2 times of R1, where your gain must satisfy the condition that should be less than 2 times of your Q square. So here in the lab, we have taken the design in such a way that we are using the frequency, sorry, we are using the value of C1, C2 equal, that is 100 nanofarad. Similarly, R1 is found out by using the same formula, taking the center frequency we have designed for 200 hertz here. So for 200 hertz of a center frequency, calculate what is R1. Similarly, calculate R2, what is R3. So R1 value, we have taken it as 3.9 kilo ohm. Similarly, R4 is 39 kilo ohm. R2 and R3 should be equal. So it is 16 kilo ohm and 16 kilo ohm. So again, the same circuit we have seen here. Along this, we have just added the values, taking the input value, say for around 10 volt peak to peak, and giving a frequency, say around 60 hertz, or starting from, you have to find out what is the value of frequency for which it is passing. So you are varying the frequency, say from 30 hertz or 10 hertz till, since I've told you the center frequency is 200 hertz we have designed. So we have to check from 10 hertz to say 1 kilohertz and check whether the gain at this particular value, that is 200 hertz, is maximum. So if we get at that particular value, the 200 hertz as maximum center frequency, we can say that the characteristics or the narrow bandpass filter frequency response what we are getting is correct. And then we will find out what is FL and FH based on the graph. This you will be plotting it. For time being, since it is simulation, we will find out whether the center frequency, what 200 hertz we are getting, is proper, finding out what is the graph of magnitude or the gain, then finding out what is the phase of this particular narrow band frequency. The difference between wide band pass filter is just you will have this portion very broad. If I show you the diagram of your wide band pass filter, see, you will have the frequencies range more in case of wide band, whereas it doesn't come for the narrow band. That is a general difference of the wide band and narrow band. See the range, the pass band range. Pass band range will be more, as well as the bandwidth what you get will be more in case of your band pass filter, which is of wide band pass filter. Whereas here it is just a narrow one cutoff frequency you will have. At that cutoff frequency, you will have that peak gain which is coming, and that determines your narrow band pass frequency or narrow cutoff frequency of a narrow band pass filter. And I'll explain you what is just the same case or what is narrow band reject filter. Now this is also called as your band stop filter. It is another type of frequency selective circuit. Again, it will work similar way like a band pass, just it is opposite. Now what we have seen that it is passing, say I have taken 300 to 300 gigahertz, it is passing. Whereas now in band stop, what I want is till that frequency, I don't want the frequency to be passed in the filter. So that is just the opposite function of the band stop filter. So band stop filter is also known as band reject filter, passes all the frequencies with the exception of those with a specified stop band, which are generally attenuated. Now, if the stop band is very narrow and highly attenuated over a frequency few hertz, then this band stop filter is also called as notch filter. And the frequency response also you can see here, it is very high selectivity rather than flattened or wider band. Now, just like your band pass filter, band stop filter is a second order having two cutoff frequencies. Again, that 3 dB point will come. You will be finding out what is the bandwidth. Then function of this band stop filter is to pass all the frequencies from 0, that is DC, up to first lower half frequency, lower cutoff frequency, that is FL. Then pass all the frequencies above its second, that is upper cutoff frequencies. It has to stop until that FL comes, then pass after the FH, but block all the frequencies in between. So these frequency band, then the filter bandwidth is nothing but FH minus FL. That remains same. If you see the figure, see this is the configuration of a notch filter, or we call it as narrow band reject filter. You will have two resistors. Again, the input is given here is to the non-inverting terminal. There is a feedback from the inverting terminal, and this particular value, that is the one which is connected in between the capacitors, the value of R will be always compared to this values, that is 3K, 3K, which we have taken here. It is always R by 2 here. This values, half of this value is the parallel resistor here. Similarly, capacitance, if you take, it is twice of those capacitance what you take here. So that is the difference. In the design part, this resistors comparing to the one which is in parallel, this will be R by 2. Suppose here, you can see here it is 3K. R by 2 of that 3K is 1.2K. Similarly, C and C values, if you take 1 microfarad, here it will be twice of that capacitance, that is 2 microfarad for this resistor combination. And when I say about band reject filter, the configuration is like this. You will have a low pass filter, you will have a high pass filter. Both the outputs will be amplified at the output. That's what will you be getting the narrow band reject filter. Whereas in case of band pass, it is low pass filter, amplification, then high pass filter. So this is the frequency response what we get. It will be little narrow, one cutoff frequency you will have. So you can see here the pass band, you can see two pass bands here, whereas in band pass it is only one pass band, two stop band. Here it is two pass bands and one stop band. Now till the FL, you will be passing the frequencies. Then all the frequencies in between it is rejected. Similarly, above your higher frequencies, the frequencies will be passed. And this is nothing but the phase shift of your band reject filter. Normally, when the higher cutoff frequency and the lower cutoff frequency, when it changes, that is, when the frequency is changing from pass band to stop band, we represent through a brick structure, or you call it as vertical brick here. So this is nothing but how the phase shift happens. This also we'll see in the graph when we do the lab today. So this will show you the phase response. Similarly, for band pass also, you will be getting the phase response, but it will be opposite here now. It will start from here, then end from here. So that is the difference of band pass and band reject. Again, this is the design part. You will have, it is also called as notch filter. You will have Q value same greater than 10. And it is commonly used to reject single frequencies because we are going for narrow frequency rejection. And the value, that is notch frequency or notch out frequency, is the frequency at which maximum attenuation occurs. The formula is given by 1 by 2 pi RC. Here I've told you that is R by 2 and 2C. This network is called as twin T network. That is mainly because you can see the T structure, two resistors and one capacitor. Similarly, two capacitors and one resistor. They are in the structure of T, and there are two T structures. So it is called as twin T structure or twin T network. So based on this, you will be doing the experiment now. And you should get the frequency like this with higher frequency and lower frequency and the notch frequency. And this is the figure what we do in the lab. So you have to 3 kilo ohm resistor, 1 microfarad. Then this is 2 microfarad and half of this will be 1.5 microfarad. Give the input and we'll be checking the output. Anything you want to ask based on the definitions or anything? Okay. So we'll move to the part of doing the experiment. Open your multisim. Whether everybody is doing the experiment? Is there anybody who is doing it daily?
Answer, please, students.
Because today I'll not be explaining anything. You have to tell me from where I'm getting the components and all. or else I'll be asking you directly to tell me. What is the first step? Anybody can tell? What is the first step we have to do? Once you open it, now see the figure. If you want, I'll show you the figure also. Just a minute. Okay. We'll do band pass filter first. Now what is this? I want you to answer, or else I'll be calling your names. Tell me at least the components, what you can see. Almost 3 experiments we have done till now. Naveen Kumar, you're there? 18 EC 55. Pavan? Pooja?
Okay, students, this is really bad. Okay, at least those who are doing can tell what is the step. What is the first step? Which
Okay.
We have to go to
go,
place and
yeah,
then
place. Then here,
components. Analog,
analog.
op amp.
Hmm.
Then we have to search for 741.
Okay. Okay. Now next, if we see the circuit, we need one
Resistor.
Yeah, resistor. How many resistors are required? 1, 2, 3, 4 resistor. Now, where do you get the resistors?
In components only we have to search for basic.
Yes. In components, go for basic. Then your resistors. Okay. We change the value here itself. One resistor we need is 3.9K. So take 3.9K. We are giving it to the inverting terminal. Just a minute. I'll flip it vertically so that it is easy to do. And take the resistors again. 4 resistors. Place component. One more resistor we need is 39K. So place it here somewhere and we'll adjust it. And 2 more resistors are of 16K. One to the feedback and one more to the non-inverting terminal. Okay. So we need to rotate it. This also we should rotate. Rotate. Now next is we need capacitors. Again the same procedure. Go to your component, then place the capacitors. Go to place, component. Here in basic, go to capacitor. In the capacitor, you can change the value. We have taken how much? Value of a capacitor. In the manual, it is 100 nanofarad. So you can take it as 100 nano. Click. And one you need to place it above this feedback. And one more resistor. Sorry, one more capacitor. You can place it here and connect it. Now, if you see the connection is connect the second terminal to your capacitor as well as to your resistor. So this capacitor should be connected to this second pin. Similarly, this capacitor to this resistor. And again, this capacitor should be connected in between your R1 and C2. Similarly, this R2 should be connected to your here. Again, this connection, that is R4, that should be connected to your third terminal, non-inverting, connected here. And this resistor should be connected to second terminal. And these are to the feedback, that is one feedback to here and one more feedback. So it is multiple feedback, both the feedbacks are there. Now we need to give ground and the source. Go to place, component. Where will I find the source? Where do we find the source?
Group, ma'am.
Group, then sources, power sources. Take VDD, or you can take DC power for plus 12 and minus 12. So 7 it is plus. This you can rotate it and give it to 4. Then we need ground. Select ground from the same sources, power sources, ground. Click OK. Give one ground to here. One more ground to this point. One more ground we need for R4. Similarly, one more ground for R2. Close. If you check the circuit, what is remaining? So we can see here, ground we have given, this ground is connected, this ground is connected, that ground is connected. So we need to give now inputs as well as to check the output. So if you see the figure, you can see three output parameters which have taken there and one input parameter. Starting from function generator, click on the function generator, place it. Now you need to connect it, give it to the input, that is R1. And this is supposed to be ground. So place a ground to your common point, close it. Connect the common and ground. Now input connection is done. I'll consider for say 30 Hertz starting. Then we need to see the output. To check the output now, you can see in the graph, we have shown you one is called as, that is the magnitude and phase. Magnitude and phase you can see by taking a Bode plotter. Now Bode plot is something which will give you always the frequency response and the magnitude as well as phase. So we always go for Bode plot. Now to go for a Bode plotter, you have to go for sixth point here. That is a Bode plotter. Take it and place it here. Similarly, or else you can go to place and also you can take it. And one more is, next we have to see the waveform in the oscilloscope. Click on the oscilloscope, place it here. And to check whether our graph which is coming and the center frequency what we are getting is proper. For that, we have to check the values. Go for the first term, component, that is your multimeter. Now connect it. This will directly go to input. So I can connect it directly to input. Again, this will go to your output. Similarly, this will go to input. That is your oscilloscope channel A. Oscilloscope channel B will go to output B. Similarly, multimeter output will go to your sixth pin. Now we need to connect all the grounds. So starting from here to here and take a ground for all the parameters ground, you can place it. Just connect it somewhere here and give the ground connection to this. Similarly, from here to here or from here to ground and connect this to ground. One more is the multimeter one. Take it and place it to ground. So now all the connections are done. Anything is remaining? I guess everything is done. Okay. Now the next important step, save the design. So I'll give it as narrow band pass filter. Save the design. Now you need to run the design. Now once you run it, now check your that is your Bode plotter. You can see somewhere around it is going on the top. You can adjust it. Use this dB, 20 dB, 30 dB, for 40, 50 dB you'll get. Adjust it to 20 dB so that, or 30 dB you can use, 50 dB, and bring it. Use this to minus 50 or minus 100 dB. Now this is to adjust so that you will be able to get the proper waveform. Now for a 20 dB here, you can see the line which is cut. You should check whether the center frequency, I've told you, it is designed for 200 Hertz, whether it is matching. Stop the simulation, bring your marker to the center and check for how much frequency whether you're getting. It is, you should get around nearly for 200. So you're getting for around 208, 208.296 Hertz. You can check here. See the frequency 208.296 Hertz. And the gain what you're getting in terms of dB is 6.235 dB. The gain of this bandpass filter. Now you need to check whether this particular waveform what we are getting is matching or not to the center frequency. For that only you are going for the multimeter. Now what we are doing is, for the multimeter, I need to note down the values of this particular value of, say, for 30 Hertz what I have taken. For that, click on this, you will get the values of, say, for 30 Hertz. Run the simulation, let it run, and click on this. See, for 30 Hertz, I'm getting 1.967. So you can note it down somewhere, so that I will note it down in an Excel sheet so that I can draw the graph in the Excel and verify whether whatever the waveforms what I'm getting is exactly the same for the one which I'm getting here. Say for, now I'll write down for 30 Hertz, the value what I'm getting here is, for 30 Hertz, it is 1.967. 967 volt. Similarly, now next what you have to do is go for the function generator. In the function generator, change this to 40 Hertz. And each value you have to check now. Now, when you finish typing, click on this ground line, then again click on this so that your value will be constant. Exact value you'll be getting. So this is coming 2.645. So for 40 Hertz, you're getting 2.645. Similarly, next, until 1 kilohertz you have to do. So starting from 50 Hertz, give 50, click on this line, again click on it. 3.343. That is 3.343. That is for 50 Hertz. Similarly, next for 60. 60, you're getting it as 4.040. 064. 4.064. That is for 60. See, each of the values, there is amplification. Your value is increasing. Take for 70. Again, click on this and click this. 4.813. That is for 70 Hertz. Next, that is for 80. Click on this and again this. 5.593. 5.593. That is for 80. Similarly, we'll do for 90, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, and last it is 1K. Well, 1K will check whether we are getting it properly. So the next value what you have to add is 90 Hertz. So give 90 Hertz in the function generator and click again this and again this. So it is 6.405. 6.405. Similarly for 100 Hertz, click this line and again this 7.25. 7.25. Similarly for 200. 200. See, the value is more, 9.276. Automatic increased. 9.276. Now, according to your design, if 200 is the cutoff, after 200, your value should decrease. It should be less than 9.267. See the value, it is decreasing, which means that I think we are getting the same cutoff frequency, 929. Next, again, give 400. This is to just get the graph. Anyways, we have verified that this is coming. 8.085. 8.085. Similarly, for 500, click on this, again this, 6.297. You can see the decreasing value, 6.297. Similarly, for 600, click on this, again this, 5.114. 5.114. Next for 700. It is 4.312. Next for 800. It is 3.731. Again 900. It is 3.291. 3.291. And 1 Hertz, 1 kilohertz. It is 2.946. Still you can want, if you want, you can check. I'll consider only this much. So it is 2.946. So total, we have taken the values which is sufficient for the graph. See, these are the values which we have taken. So this is nothing but frequency, and this is nothing but the voltage variation. See the values starting from 1.967, it is increasing. Then there is a maximum value which you are getting at 9.276. Then there is decrease. Now, if we plot the graph for this values, so go for insert and click for the graph here. See this graph, you can see the almost variation, how you're getting it here. So I'll just adjust it a little bit so that you can see the exact values. So this minimum, maximum, I'll keep it to logarithmic scale because we are actually seeing in the logarithmic values or logarithm in terms of dB. So it's good to see it in terms of dB. I'll keep it to 20 dB since we have taken there also 20 dB. Click it to 20 dB and now just check the values. See, you're getting the value. This value we can mark it. Mark the value here. See, this is $9.276. You can add the label. Now see this peak value 9.276 is nothing but the one which is here. That is your 200, which means that this particular frequency, 200 frequency, is the cutoff frequency or the center frequency of this narrow bandpass filter. When we draw the 20 dB graph, we add this 3 dB line here, and then we find out what is lower frequency, what is higher frequency, so that you can find out what is the bandwidth. So this is how you do the theoretical or verification whether what you're getting is proper with respect to the graph. So this is what we are also getting here. If you stop the simulation and check, this particular frequency is matching for 208.296 Hertz with 6.235 dB. Now you can see this is magnitude. Similarly, we have to check for phase. So just click on the phase. See, it is just difference of what I've told you earlier with the graph of band reject filter. If you see, you will have that barrier coming, but here it is in that frequency, that is the pass frequency, you will just have this phase change like this. So this is just to verify it, whether you're getting it. That is the phase change you're getting it. At this point, you can see here, once it is starting, then it is just the phase change for the reverse process from positive to it is going to negative end. Any confusions you have, you can ask me. Till now, whatever it is explained, is that okay? For Bode plot, you have to double click on this, adjust this based on those dB values, bring it to a proper line, stop the simulation, check the center frequency, how much you're getting. That should match the frequency. Okay. Then vary the frequency from this and check in the other one also the values whether you're getting. Click on the phase, see the graph, phase of the bandpass filter. Similarly, you can also check in the oscilloscope now. Click the run button. You can see the oscilloscope value also. Just adjust this, say for, I'll keep it to around 1 milli per division. This as 10. Again, this as, I'll keep it as 5 itself. Just move this to the above. You can just make it single. Now see, these values should match your values what you have got there. Now this particular value, it is taking for 1 kilohertz. Start from, you can see, give 30 hertz and check here. Just click normal and again single. See the value, it is changing. See the waveform, it is like this. Now if you suddenly give, say I'll give 100 hertz and click simulation, see the value, it is changing. So this is nothing because the values what you have taken there in the Excel sheet, the same values it is giving here, comparing to your input and output. See, for this is around 1020 if you take in terms of division. So this values are nothing but it is changing, passing. We should get 200 hertz, you should get little maximum. So keep it to normal. See, the value has increased here again. For 200, you will be getting it as maximum voltage. See, now give it around, say, after we will check for 202 kilohertz, what you will be getting. See the frequency, how it is for 2 kilohertz, because it is not passing. Only those frequencies are passed. That means this is going to a very small value at 2 kilohertz. So at 200 hertz, you're getting it as maximum. Then after that, it is again decreasing. So if I take again 500 hertz, it should be less than what you have got. See. So this is also how you can check it in terms of your oscilloscope waveform also, how it is passing. So this is one more method, but the values, it is better if you can check in the Bode plot as well as in the multimeter. So based on that, you can draw the waveform, and your waveforms, you can see it is inverse comparing to the input. The output what you're getting is phase shift. Why it is? Can anybody tell me? Why the output is coming reverse here? Anybody?
Input is given to negative terminal.
Input is given to negative terminal. Good. So it is coming, the output is coming in a reverse position. Okay. So this is about the first experiment. If you have any doubt, you can ask me, or else we will move to band reject filter. Okay. That means there is no doubt. So we'll move on to the next one. That is band reject filter. Now moving on to the circuit of band reject filter. Okay. So this is a circuit which you have in the lab. With one op amp, you need 3 resistors, 3 capacitors. That's it. So we can just take the op amp and then the resistors and the capacitor, go to place, component, go for analog, then op amp, take 741, place it, close, flip it, then again go to place, component, go to basic, then resistors. 3 resistors we need. The values of the resistors are 3K, 2 resistors of 3K. You can place 1 resistors here and 1 more resistor here. Then we need 1.5K. Okay. Then you need to rotate, either do Control R or click on the right side and take it. Now these resistors which are placed, it should be given to your non-inverting terminals, both, and other 2 capacitors below that. So you can just take it and place it according to that. Just a little below to this. Go to place, component, capacitor. The capacitor value which we have taken is 1 microfarad. Take 1 micro. Okay. Place it above this and 1 more above this. And 1 more, it is 2 farad, 2 microfarad. Control R. Place it here for time being. Then click close. Now we have to do the connections based on that. You have to connect 3. Third terminal should be connected to this. Again, these both are connected. Then connect from the resistors. You have to connect. Again, the capacitors. Okay, it has to be placed down. A minute. Bring the capacitor to here. And this also bring the capacitor to here. Connect both the capacitors. From that, give it to second pin. Take from here. This is connected to this terminal. This capacitor to here. This capacitor to this position. Now in the configuration, resistor that is 1.5 should be connected in between this capacitors. That is from here to here. And this capacitor, it has to be connected to this resistor combination. Okay. Now these 2 resistor and capacitors should be given to ground. So you can just connect both. And this should be given to feedback. Before that, we'll take the sources. That is, go for sources in that DC power. Give plus to 7 terminal. Similarly, 4 rotated. Close. Then we need to place the ground. Go to component, take ground, place it one should be placed here. And one more for another source. And one more should be placed here. Yes. Just connect this ground to here, then we can just give the input and check the output. Now this feedback is remaining. Take from 2, give it to pin number 6. I hope the connection is done. You can check the circuit. So 2 resistors we have connected from their capacitor, 2 capacitors from their resistor, which are given to ground. Then third pin should be taken, second pin should be taken and given to the feedback. Supplies are done. So next is we have to again give the input and output. So go for the function generator, click on the function generator and give it here. Input should be given to this position. Output should be given to ground. So one more ground is required, or you can just connect any of the grounds also which you have taken already. I'll just use this ground. Close it. Connect from common terminal to the ground. Again, now to see the output, we need an oscilloscope. Take an oscilloscope, place it here. Similarly, we need to see the magnitude and the phase. Go for Bode plot, click it here. You can also check the values also. I'll go for a multimeter. Now check input should be given to this terminal, that is to here. Similarly, one input to oscilloscope. So I'll give it here. Again, output should be given to pin number 6. Take this also, oscilloscope, give it to pin number 6. Similarly, multimeter, give it to pin number 6. Now we need a ground also to connect both of the, all the grounds of the output. It's connected. Go for place, component, take ground and place it here. Now this ground should be connected. Similarly, this ground should be connected here. Take and this also you connect it here. And one more ground for multimeter. The next step, I think everything is done. We can save the design. Before that, I will give the cutoff frequency, say any frequency within, I'll give it as 50. Sorry, I'll give it as 100. Within 100, I can get the values. Click save. This you can give it as narrow band stop filter. Click OK. Now run the design. Click on the Bode plot. So you can see you have to adjust it again here. So just use this 20 dB knob, make it to say, I think 20 is fine. You can use this for adjusting the broadness, keep it to 50 dB. So this particular design, that is designed for 50 Hertz, the notch frequency. So you can just stop the design and just bring this and see whether you're getting around 50 Hertz. See, this is the exact line I think you're getting. So it is 50.501 Hertz with the gain of minus 32.408 dB because it will be coming towards the negative side. So you're getting around minus 32.408 dB the gain. And the design frequency, notch frequency is 50.501 Hertz. Exact one frequency, rest all frequencies here you can see those are passed. At one frequency, you're neglecting or you're stopping that particular value which is coming at 50 Hertz. So it is very much suitable for eliminating single frequency because if you see band pass and band stop, band pass, it was not this much narrow what we got.
Whereas band stop filter or the notch filter, what you can see, exact at one particular frequency, you can take off that frequency or that particular value. So it is mainly suitable for single frequency elimination.
Now, if you see the phase, you should get that barrier. You can see here from the stop band, from the pass band to stop band, when it is changing, you get this barrier here. So this is nothing but the phase change which is happening, just the opposite of your band pass. So this is the particular frequency and the 90-degree phase shift which is happening. So this is a phase diagram of your or phase of your band stop filter. Similar way how you have done for band pass. The only thing is little bit of adjustment you have to do while you get the graph. Now the next step we'll see just the oscilloscope output. See the oscilloscope output. It is you are getting. Just bring this down. Keep it. Okay. So if you run the design, you can see the normal. This is for 50 hertz what you're getting. If you can change the frequency and see for, sorry, 100 hertz, change it to 50 hertz and check. See the frequency. It should not be giving you at 50 hertz. So it is almost very less because you know that part of the frequency is eliminated. So at that point, you must not be getting the value. We can check for any other value, say for around, we'll give for 10 hertz. See the 10 hertz, the value how you're getting. So it is like you are getting the value, some value where your values or the value, there is some frequency which is passing. At 50 hertz, there is no output. So this is how you verify it in the oscilloscope. And now you can check with respect to the values using the multimeter also. So starting from, I think we can check from, since we are getting at 50, we will just check to 10 to 100 hertz so that we can verify the values. So give run and just check the values. See, for 10, we are getting 5.563. So I'll just make it here, one more graph and we can check the frequency. For 10 hertz, it is 5.563. Similarly, for 20 hertz, that is, click on this function generator, change the frequency to 20. And again, click on this line and this. So we are getting 3.485. So it is 23.485. Similarly, we'll go for 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100. So for 30 hertz, click on this line again and click this. See the values. It is different when you compare to your band pass. There it was increasing, here it is decreasing. And check for 40. It is, see the value, it is milli. This, if I write it in terms of like that itself, it is 98.985 milli. So it is 0.989, 0.989. Similarly for 50 hertz. So if I check for 50, see the value, it is still more or less. You're getting 0.0198. 0.198. And next, it should increase now since 50 is the cutoff. After 60, it should increase. So it is increasing. You are getting it as 0.446. 0.446. Next, again for 70. With this and again this 0.994. 0.994.
Again, next, it is 80. See the value 1.473. 1.473. Similarly for 90 and 100. Last 90 hertz. 1.898. And next 400. 2.279 or 2.28. If we check for, let's check for 500, how much you're getting. See, for 500, it is still more, 6.5. 6.5. One more we'll check for 1000. So it is 6.917. Very less. 6.917. That is for 1000. So we got all the values. Anyways, we know that it is giving less for that particular value. We can just check in the graph. So these are the values which you have got. That is for frequency. And this is for voltage. You can just plot the graph for this. Go to insert. This is how you get. So you can just again change it to dB axis. Go to axis option. Minimum value, give it to logarithmic. I'll change it to base 20. Okay here. Then just you need to add the label here. To this, add the data labels. Okay, 1 second. For this value, add the label. See, it is 0.98. 0.98, you're getting it for this particular value. That is this one. This value. Which means that the cutoff frequency, what we have got here is correct. That is a notch frequency. And for 3 dB line, we will just draw the line here. Measure what is higher frequency, what is lower frequency. The Semilog graph sheet you have to do. So get the higher frequency, lower frequency, and you have to find out the bandwidth. So this is how you find whether the frequencies are matching the cutoff frequency, what you get. So this is about both the experiment, narrow band pass and narrow band reject filter. Any doubt you have regarding this? Anything is there, you can ask. Ma'am?
Yeah, Sankita. That's
done.
enough, Sankita. Yeah, it's very nicely explained. Actually, they may find it little difficult because we just started filters today.
Mhm.
We just started with the low pass. So for them, it will be a little difficult to digest, I feel.
Mhm.
But then I guess you people have understood, no? At least seeing the band, which band is being passed and which is being rejected. That idea, it's really nicely explained, Sankita. I think that's it. Everything is covered.
After it is done in the theory class, you can just try it once in your systems. Just go through. I will upload the video. I think the previous video also I have not uploaded in the Google Classroom. I'll upload it today. So the precision and this. So you can just go through it once it is done in the class. Go through so that you will see. Doing the experiment, it is easy. The concept which you have to understand is different. Once you understand the concept only, it will become easier for you to do. So once it is done in the class, you can just go through once again through the experiment so that you will understand practically how it is happening, how the band is passing, how the frequency is rejecting.
So that's what I can tell you. I don't know how many are doing or not. There is response from only few of the students after asking so many times. So just make sure do it properly.